Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of Mondays with Marian. Thank you so much for joining me. And this week I'm just going to dive right in. If you're new to my channel, feel free to look at all the past videos I've created. They always talk about a wide variety of things from spirituality, leadership, entrepreneurship, and book recommendations. But today I really wanted to dive right in because it's something that I experienced recently. And through our whole lives, we have ebbs and flows, right? And when it comes to dealing with pain and sorrow, sadness, a lot of those heavy emotions, a lot of times we are taught to suppress it. I know I was. And I thought that was the answer, to suppress it, to fight it, to numb it. As someone who has had PTSD and suffered through trauma and depression for a huge part of my life, and I'm still continuing to heal and work through all that, I get these waves and flows of these emotions. I still get triggered, not often as I used to, because I have awareness now and I can sense when something is triggering me or going to. But when this does happen, and this happened recently, one of the things I've really learned how to do that I did not do before, that I think is so crucial to riding out these waves and really growing and healing yourself, is to actually feel it. And let me give you an example. So when I would get flashbacks or memories or feel sad and depressed or whatever it was that I was feeling from the trauma before, thinking about the abuse and kind of getting back into that victim consciousness, I used to fight it. I used to be like, no, I'm not sad. This doesn't affect me. This doesn't hurt. I would fight it. I would deny myself of feeling that emotion, and when it would start coming up and bubbling, I would numb it. So this is when I drank very heavily, I abused drugs, and I would always have to do something so that I didn't address it. I would suppress it, forget it, try to, push my mind away from dealing with those issues, numb it, and then surprise, surprise, they'd keep coming back over and over, and I would self-medicate and do the same thing over and over again. And for years I lived like that because I thought, you know what, that's I don't want to address it. It was too painful for me to address and think about the abuse and the trauma and everything, so I just kind of forgot it. And over the years I've learned, and it's still something that I'm continuously learning about and not a lot of people talk about, is to actually work through it. So now when I have these waves of thoughts, and before really going down that rabbit hole, I actually allow my body to feel it. So when a memory comes up or a trigger or some negative self-talk comes up, I sit with myself. I meditate and I actually feel that whatever it is, that sadness perhaps, or that feeling of not enough or loneliness. And I breathe through it. I feel it, and I can literally feel it sometimes pass through. A lot of times it really passes through. There's an old adage when they say the only way to get through pain is to go through it. And at that time it's painful, but nothing is permanent. No emotion, it will pass through. And I've learned that every time that I let it pass through now, I'm actually able to take a look at why things are coming up, and I get to address it. Okay, maybe this person triggered it because I haven't worked through these emotions yet. Why? I get to really analyze, and it actually helps me. And the pain doesn't sit there. It passes through, and I'm able to really control it instead of having it control me. And if I feel like crying, I will cry. I will allow myself. Before I was like, crying is weakness. I would fight it. I'd fight back tears. Now I just let it out. And it is the most cathartic release ever. And I'm like, why didn't I do this before? So if you're going through any type of anger, pain, resentment, all of that, we are human. It is normal to feel that, but you don't have to dwell on it. So what you need to do, and what I do, is, like I said, sit with it, meditate, breathe through it, allow yourself to feel, and let it pass. And then I write sort of my thoughts and experience, And I learned from that. And I realized when I do that, I don't stay in that feeling or emotion of pain for a long period of time. Now I may have it for a few hours, and once I get through it, I actually feel better after. And I have more awareness, like, that situation or that person triggered that emotion. What do I need to address? What do I need to do better? What do I need to work on? And it's a beautiful process of peeling back layers and understanding myself more. And it's you get to really learn about yourself. So that is my advice. Don't fight it, feel it. Thank you so much again for tuning in. I know these videos are short and they're meant to be short, but if you like the longer sort of talks and explanations, that's why I actually started my podcast. So you can tune into the Thriver Lifestyle Podcast. It's available on iTunes, Google Play Music, and Stitcher. So there I have longer conversations about these kind of topics, give more examples, and I actually bring in some really cool guests that talk about personal development, self-help, spirituality, a lot of that really cool metaphysical stuff too. So thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope to see you guys on social media. I'm on Instagram a lot, and I will see you next week. Let me know what you thought about this episode. All right?